Hi, this is Dr. Karmon. I am a doctor in psychology focusing on depression, anxiety, wellness, and healthy behaviors, and the mind body connection. I thought that it would be a good topic to come to you to talk about grief during the pandemic. The reason is because a lot of my clients are dealing with that today. And in the past few weeks, grief may look different. A loss is a loss is a loss, but a lot of times we don't take that in, process it as grief, whether it is loss of financial stability, loss of a job, loss of a loved one, loss of a beloved pet, or in this case, we're having a lot of loss of security. And I don't see that a lot of people are talking about the loss of security and how we manage grief related to that. And the article from Dr. Jason Spindelow in Psychology Today, if you would like to look it up, it is scrolling across the bottom of the screen so you can look at it. I'm not going to capture the whole article. I am going to hit the highlights. But Dr. Jason talks a lot about why the pandemic makes it a lot harder for people to grieve, why it complicates grief. That is something we talk a lot about in counseling circles about complicated grief. So this is one of those complications that nobody really anticipated. So why does the pandemic make it more difficult to grieve and to grieve in a healthy way? It's because it makes it more difficult for us to get in-person one-on-one support. That being said, myself, my colleagues, the counseling center where I practice out of, we are all working telehealth. And a lot of my colleagues in the Florida area, Sarasota, Bradenton, Venice, Fort Myers, and beyond are all available through telehealth. Some of us are available self-pay, which means you pay out of pocket. Some of us are also available through insurance, through employee assistance programs. There are various ways to get in to get counseling. That's what I want you to know, that help is out there, that we are providing support for your grief, for your stress under the pandemic. That is available. It's very present. There are many platforms that we use to do that, to make it, thank you for the love, I appreciate you, to make it so that you can get private counseling and have the security of keeping your information private. So the other reason that grief under a pandemic is complicated or more difficult is because we have less activity. So you have more time to yourself and more time to probably get in your head about whatever the factors are that you are grieving about, whatever your losses are. And for some of you, I acknowledge and I feel you that there have been multiple losses in this last 6 months. So that is further compounding it. But now you're stuck inside. There's no way to get out more frequently and do activities to take you out of your head, to help you release some of that stress, to help you release some of that grief. So you don't have access to your hobbies, to your interests, to getting together with your buddies. Another factor is high levels of social health and occupational uncertainty, as we already talked about, the safety issues, the loss of safety and security, even if it's a perceived loss of same thing. I know in the last couple of weeks, some people have been feeling that part of it even more because all of us rightly thought that, by this time we'd be in a better position now and getting back to normal. So there's that is complicating it. And lastly, he says frequent reminders about illness and death, including the fear that you will experience further loss, complicate your ability to do that. I apologize, I am work from home, so you might hear some beeping from the appliances. We have to juggle a lot of things, and I too am juggling between clients online and my other practice jobs and duties. So those are some of the reasons that grief during a pandemic are more complicated for everybody. So we work with that. We do our best with that. What can you do now that I've told you what makes it worse? One, again, be mindful of the fact that professionals are available to assist you in doing this. You don't have to grieve alone. Support is available to you to help you through these things. Thanks for the love. I appreciate you. So, what you can start to do is acknowledge that grieving at this time is challenging. Nobody expects you to be perfect. When you're in my office or online with me, we always start the grief discussion with the fact that nobody's getting a grade on how they grieve. We all grieve differently. There is no right or wrong way to do it unless it is destructive to you or to your family. So we talk about healthy ways to grieve, healthy ways to cope, but you're not getting a grade on this. There is no one way to do this, get through this. There is no, oh, we have a service, we acknowledge the grief, and full stop, everything's better. It is a process, just like most things. Grieving is a process. Somehow, some way in our world, we've come up with this idea that, once we have a memorial, then the grieving stops and you move on with your life, and not all the memories of the person that isn't there, dealing with the absence of that person or the absence of that thing. That is not the reality, and that's another reason to consult with or seek out counseling to help you through the process. So you have additional stress to contend with. Also, that is something we may do simultaneously, working with you to deal with the other stressors in your life and trying to make it a manageable chunk that you can deal with. And so you feel less alone, less isolated, especially under pandemic conditions. To help you to fight off the self-criticism that I should be doing better, or I'm failing to keep it together, or just not acknowledging the other stressors that are going on in your life in addition to the loss. So you can also stay connected with others. We talk about using these online social media things like Zoom. I know there's a couple other ones that came out on Google, on WhatsApp, and you can stay connected, even do family reunions, and different things like that to stay connected, to get less isolated. Healthier ways to do things to try to help you get that connection, have some activity with others. If you don't have enough motivation, try to make time for the calls, schedule the calls to friends, calls to family members, Zoom times with family members. We have tons of people who are doing weekly family members, monthly family reunions, all the things. So this is something that, okay, I'm going to check on this one today, that one tomorrow, and so on and so forth. Again, please bear with me through the beeping. I can't get up right now to silence it, but the message is important. So another thing is to alternate between loss activities and restorative activities. Loss activities, as defined by the doctor, are activities like reviewing pictures or reviewing videos of the person that you lost. So it helps you remember them, helps you feel still connected with them. And the restorative activities are things like looking towards the future, making plans for the future, making plans for daily exercise, making plans for, having a meal with somebody, even if it's on Zoom, but plans to spend time on your hobbies. Let's get back to, the things that I used to do that I can still do, even with restrictions for the pandemic. So a balance between loss activities and restorative activities. Lastly, he advises considering minimizing the time that you spend watching the news. Now, this is a recommendation I give whether you're grieving or just stressed. News is inherently negative. It is built to be negative, to drive eyes on the page, but creating fear, and more eyes on the page creates more advertising dollars, and that's all it's about. So you only really need to hit the news maybe once a day. If you're looking to look at numbers and different things like that, those are usually calculated by the end of the day for the evening news. So, as long as it's like a 5 or 6 o'clock news and it's hours before bed, go ahead and hit it in the evening. Otherwise, hit it in the morning. Limit your notifications for news. A lot of times people are getting tons of new notifications from different news outlets, and it's all negative, fear mongering, or stress inducing, about this, that, and the third, but it's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again at multiple outlets. So you only need to have so much exposure to that. Try to limit it to once a day if you can. Limit negative social media consumption. Okay, I'm going to stress that. Social media can be fun if it is uplifting, like cat videos, dog videos, funny memes, different things like that, where you can watch together with friends and do positive activities. But limit your exposure to negative social media. So that is the recommendations from the doctor. Those are also my recommendations because there's a very good article. If you want to read it in its entirety, it is available online at Psychology Today. And there are several different articles that are also quite good related to grief and bereavement and stress. And you may also want to check out the American Psychological Association, or APA.org, with lots and lots of education about mental fitness and mind health and emotional health. Let's keep that conversation going, folks. If you have other things that you would like me to talk about, please be sure to drop that in the comments. I would love to discuss those with you and discuss how you navigate the mental health landscape for mental fitness, for better coping through stress, through hardship, and for better living, because that's what it's all about. It's not really about putting a label on you or making you less than. It's helping you to cope and do the things you need to do to be mentally fit and physically fit. That's why I believe wholeheartedly in a holistic approach, a mind, body, spiritual approach to better living. So thank you guys for your time. I totally appreciate you. Again, my name is Dr. Karmon Sears, and I will be dropping little bits of this kind of knowledge on you guys from time to time. And I welcome your comments. If you would like further information on mental fitness, I would be happy to provide it. And again, those are the resources: Psychology Today, American Psychological Association, or APA.org, for better articles and education about different mental fitness topics. Thank you. I hope that you have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time.